This meeting is being recorded.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. You're mobile.
Oh, I can barely hear. I don't know if it's me, my volume, but I apologize. Can you hear me? Can someone say if you can hear me good enough?
We can hear you.
Perfect. So good evening, everyone. This is one of, or rather the final meeting for the summer anyways. And we were going to have it in person, but a lot of us are kind of on other, we have other agendas. So we're hopping on Zoom again. We decided last minute that we would have a Zoom for our final meeting for the summer. It is, or rather to kind of just be able to enjoy the summer. We are going to be back, I would assume, hopefully in person in September. Am I correct, Marianne? Okay, great. So we have a very short agenda for today. And basically, I'm just gonna hand it over to Marianne, and she will hand it over to the chief to discuss a few things. And there's just one thing that, if I may add, I would like just some elaboration on the new task force that's been accomplished for the Merrimack Valley with regarding to the bike safety. I think that would be nice to share. I seen that you were successful in gathering a number of other towns to participate in that concern with the bikes.
Okay. So you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. So the first thing I think that you wanted to talk about was school safety. So currently the department is writing a school violence and prevention grant, and we're reviewing the needs of additional cameras around the schools in the city to see if that's something that will fit within the parameters of the grant. We're going to have a company come in and conduct some estimates of for us to be able to put video systems up so that we'll be able to monitor 24/7 outside the schools. Currently, the high school has cameras inside, and I'm not sure the rest of the schools in the city have any cameras. So that would be really important to us to be able to view at least the outside of every school in case something is going on or something happens at or around a school. So we're not sure how much we'll be able to get in the grant, but we will do as much as possible if we do get the grant. And at least part of it will be for some cameras in the school system. And as you know from what we read around the world and see around the world, a lot of them, the school shootings, unfortunately, happen with the most vulnerable in the elementary schools. They're not attacking the kids in high school because they, maybe there's a larger propensity for them to fight back, right? So that's what we would be looking to do first is to protect the elementary and the middle schools. And with the new high school coming in, it's already written into their budget that there'll be video and cameras around that school. So we thought it was really important. I believe the school department thinks that's important as well. And that's one of our main goals, is to attempt to get some financing through that federal grant. But in terms of school safety, the police department, we talked about on the radio this week with at WCAP about school safety as well. And so the Lowell Police Department trains on a regular basis. Unfortunately, COVID curtailed some live training that we've done in the past in terms of active shooter training in the schools. But we have a state-of-the-art simulation training machine, Virtua. I think you guys are aware about it, right? And we're able to, with the Virtua system, to create active shooter scenarios, which we trained in, I believe, in late fall, early winter this year. So we were still able to do some active shooter training. We do train the police in Massachusetts, in the city of Lowell. We're trained to advance towards the threat. So whether it's one officer, two officers, 3, 4, 5, or however many that arrive first, our main focus is to advance to the threat. So, the question is, we don't know I am not familiar with the training and what they do in other states, but in Massachusetts, we train to attack the threat. And we would go into the school, whether it's one officer alone or two or more. You know, ideally, you'd like to have more than one, but if it's one there at first, then they're going in. That's how we train. We train regularly. All of our frontline patrol vehicles are equipped with patrol rifles, which will allow them to go in and adequately attack a threat, someone armed with an assault rifle. So the city of Lowell has spent considerable amount of money to properly equip and arm the police officers. And we have other equipment in the supervisors' cars that is also available to the officers once the supervisors come on scene. Training and equipment, we also just purchased all new patrol rifles that will be going online hopefully in the next month or two for the frontline cars, and that's going to be a big help. In the past, we had enough patrol rifles to to not do the training as well. So when officers were at the range or at the academy training, we would take some of those rifles as well. But now we purchased enough so that all the rifles in the patrol cars will never be used for training, and they'll all be in great shape for the officers on the street. We train with our other partners. We're with NEMLEC, which is the Northeast Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council, and we have 4 members of the SWAT team on the Lowell Police Department, including the commander of the SWAT team, who is our training lieutenant. So that we feel that the city is well trained. Our officers are well trained. They also receive training in the academy as well in active shooter training. So they train from the academy, and then every year we have training, firearms and other simulator training. We also have been working with the school on several other ideas that will be unveiling over the course of the next year. And we're also going to involve the school department in our active shooter training over the course of the summer. So I think that's very important. So the school security personnel will be involved. They'll know what to do, how to react when police officers are coming in, what their main goal, what their main function or purpose should be if it was something that happened in their school. And maybe it's something that if members of the committee wanted to be observers or even some sort of participant during the training over the summer, maybe that's something that we could try to get some of you involved in, whether as participants or being in and being able to observe what happens, how we work. So we can talk about that as we get closer. I think that's going to be in August. Then probably in a few weeks, we're going to be working with the NEMLEC STARS, which is a school threat assessment and response system. It's a special group of trained individuals. They're not only police officers, they're psychologists, they're school administrators, and they're trained to go in. It's more of a prevention mechanism. It's a whole team of people, but not only prevention. They go in and they evaluate the school. They evaluate security threats. They're also a critical incident stress management team that, God forbid something happened at a local school, they'll come in afterwards, and they have social workers and psychologists and everyone involved to help in the aftermath of a tragedy. So we're bringing them into the city, and we're going to be doing training with them and some evaluation in one of our schools in probably 2 weeks. It's at the end of this month. So we're pretty active. We hope that we're prepared, and hopefully, God forbid, something happens, that we'll be ready. We're continuing to work with the school department on some other security measures that we put in place, and they're willing to work. And we're looking at increasing numbers of our school resource officers as well for the next school year. So that'd be a big help. Funding is a big issue, not only funding, but getting officers to come in and work, because if we pull officers from the current complement without increasing our staff, then we'll be short on the street. So we can't have that. So we're looking at mechanisms to increase our staff and increase the school resource officers before the start of the school year. So that's, I think, pretty much info on our schools and what we do. Does anyone have any questions on the school safety?
Yeah, just one question. So, I understand that there's been, I believe, like, students at the Robinson School, and there's been like a situation with them like leaving school and like just destroying property or something like that. Can you just tell me? Would you mind telling me like kind of like how that situation's been addressed?
So I didn't catch what the problem was, Lucia.
Oh
I
yeah.
think
So yeah.
I was just gonna say I think she's referring to the incidents at the Robinson School after school dismissal with kids going into the neighborhood.
Oh.
Is that the incident you're referring to,
Yeah.
Lucia?
Yeah.
And how we're
Yeah.
addressing that problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that problem is twofold. So a lot of the kids that get out of the Robinson and the McAuliffe, they go and hang out at the park. But what also happens is you have, I think it's Lowell Catholic plays after school sports up at the field. So you have people coming from Lowell Catholic to either watch or their events or their practice. Then when all the other schools get out in the city, and the kids that live in that area, they also come to the Robinson School. So because they have basketball courts, and you know what, kids should be able to hang out at basketball courts and have fun. But what's been happening is there's been a group of individuals that are there for malicious intent to cause some problems with the neighbors, those close neighbors, and then to the park. So what we've done is we have the district response officer over there every afternoon, and one of our canine with Canine Mac goes over and helps facilitate the traffic flow until the end of school, and then everything will slow down. There'll be far less children there after school. We haven't had any problems since we put the officers over there, no complaints. And they just basically hang out by the park and make sure there's no trouble. Still a lot of kids hanging out, but they're not going to cause trouble as long as the police are there, hoping that as soon as school gets out and the crowds lessen and there's far less kids from all over the city there, that there won't be any problems. So, so far, so good. It's been under control ever since.
Okay, thank you. That's very good news.
Thank you.
So Chief, may I make a suggestion? Sorry, was somebody else going to speak?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Would it be possible, and I mean, I know that it may require funding, right? And I don't know what those numbers would be, but if I make I would just like to suggest, I've seen some like, what do you call it? Like self-defense organizations or agencies. Would it be a bad idea to have a number of the faculty be prepared and trained for self-defense should something arise where, it gets out of hand or there's weapons involved? Is that out of line? Is that is that unacceptable until you arrived or until someone arrived, until the officials arrived? Is that something that's out of bounds?
So I don't think it's something totally out of bounds. I don't know if it's something that we would train school staff in that type of activity. And the only reason I say that is we see it enough with our own officers. And then if we started training teachers and the liability for injuries and other things that may happen and the amount of people that could go out injured as a result of training, that could be an issue. And I'm not sure, that you could train them up to a level that someone would be, confident in disarming or going after someone that is armed with it, whether it be a handgun, assault rifle, or so. I don't think it's something I can ask the training division if there's other levels of training or what I'm trying to think of. But if there's something else that we could do to better equip the teachers or faculty in terms of what to do should something happen. A lot of it is sometimes it's a natural instinct that takes place, and there's someone that their natural defense and the first mechanism would be to attack the threat. And I'm not quite sure if we want to train that, but they do say that most of or a lot of these incidents, that if someone does go after the threat or had attacked them, that it would have stopped it right away. And that's the key to the police going in and attacking the threat. And that training changed since Columbine, to go in there and locate and attack the threat. And that's kind of what we do. And it may be difficult, to teach the school staff, and then you get into all kinds of different union regulations, and so it's something that we could talk about and see if maybe it's on a volunteer basis or something that, because we do teach, we have taught like RAD, rape aggression defense type of classes to citizens police academies and other people. So it's something maybe we could look at.
I think it's worth looking into. I really believe that if there's not going to be a police officer or someone inside each school department, it's within each school or around, there's, something has to be done. It's happening everywhere. I mean, it's clear, it's evident. It's not something that we should overlook by all means. But also, is there police officers assigned? I remember hearing this conversation take place some years ago, and I just kind of want to get a refresher on that. Are there officers assigned to like every school to like kind of go around, so that way if something, looks suspicious or someone was planning something, they know that they're always protected?
So when we had the additional 4 school resource officers, we have 4 officers assigned to the high school, and then the other 4 officers split up all the rest of the schools in the city, and they would visit them, whatever their rotation would be. Realize this, absent any school resource officers, we have police cruisers in every single section of the city that are within, seconds or minutes away from the schools in terms of response, as well as any additional personnel that we may have working in the city at any time, whether it be detail officers, detectives. So we do have a lot of officers. We have officers that work traffic posts almost on a day, unfortunately, at the schools, a lot of them before and after school, which it's a drain on the officers. But on the other hand, for someone that may be thinking about doing something at the schools and they drive by and there's a police officer directing traffic instead of a crossing guard before or after school, that is another deterrent. And a lot of we are down a lot of crossing guards in the city, so a lot of the days before and after school, there's a police officer assigned to traffic at a lot of the schools. So that's unfortunate, but it's also a help in terms of a deterrent for that. But again, our hope is to increase the school resource officers back at least to that number of 8, and then have the officers back assigned and knowing the schools that they check and that they attend. And I think that is a big help for us to have that. Not only they know the principals, they know the teachers, they know the kids, they know the doors, they know the ins and outs of the school. So that was a big benefit to us. So that's the goal. We've met with the superintendent, and the school is actually, department is interested in funding those positions. So we're going to move forward.
Good. That's really good. I was just going to ask, so who does the hiring and the funding for the crosswalk, for the individuals that are taking on that task?
So the crossing guard stuff, it's funded by the police department, and we would hire, but it's not a preferred job for a lot of people, and we have a very difficult time getting people. And a lot of times it's retired, it's elderly. So in the winter, when it's bad weather, they aren't coming to work. So but they take the jobs. We don't get a lot of people. Years ago, you know, if it was a K-4 school, if you were in 4th grade, you got the crossing straps and you got to cross the people, right? But that doesn't happen anymore. You know, everyone got to, you know, I don't know why, but so nowadays it's paid crossing guards. They're trained, you know, with their stop signs, and when they're not there, it's a police officer. So.
Okay. So, I mean, it looks like you guys got your work cut out for you. When can we expect an update on all of that? Would we can get some update by email so that we could, you know, just share with our friends and families to give them some comfort, you know, updates, or do we need to wait until September to get an update on all of that?
Well, if we move forward with something, we can definitely give you guys an update. If we're able to get the hiring, we're going to be trying to, you know, sometimes it's difficult, but taking certified transfers from other departments. And if we can get some good candidates, then we'd be able to hire people without sending them to the academy and get them right, and then be able to start the process for school resource officers, because that's governed by a certain process now with the, so, you know, you just can't pick someone and say, I want this officer to be the school resource officer. There's a process, there's an interview process with the school department. So we can definitely keep you updated.
That'd be great. I'm definitely interested in getting an update on all of that. It's so important for the schools, for the kids.
Yep. No, absolutely. And, you know, that's something that everyone's concerned about. So we're definitely looking forward to hopefully boosting that, the SRO complement. I know that, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Another thing too is anyone assigned, or would it be the same police officers? And I apologize if I sound ignorant for this question, but what about all the congregations? Are they also being protected? Because, I mean, it happens in congregations as well.
Yeah, so we have a list of every congregation. Malika put out a list. We put together a list, and we've updated it, and we try to keep it updated, of every congregation, synagogue, church, temple in the city. And we put it out. The officers have it on our computer program, so they're able to see. When I know that when there was it was more prevalent a few months ago, we were making sure that officers were visible during before and after church services, and, you know, spend some time in the when you see and you know that the church and temples are operating. So we do have officers aware of where their churches and temples are in their area, and some of them, over the course of time, we've actually done some security measures with them. But now we're referring, because there's so much, we refer them to private agencies to do security assessments of the churches. They'll train, they'll help the staff at the church. And, you know, I think that some of them you'll see when different denomination, that the doors are locked, and you'll come to the door, and they'll actually then let you in one at a time. And they don't keep the doors open for free access anymore. So they know who's coming. They have, some of them have Ring cameras or whatever type of camera system to see who's at the door. And if there's any question, they'll call the police right away. So
another thing that we've done with the churches and temples and stuff is that we've asked them to, you know, if they're going to be having huge celebrations, like for instance, like during the Southeast Asian New Year, like at the temples in Lowell, like the Cambodian temples, they would contact the police department, let us know. They would request some detail, so that way we know that these large groups are happening, and the officers that are working in that sector are also aware. So we've also asked churches and other nonprofit organizations, if they're going to be having like a big event going on in their community, to let us know, to be aware, so that way we can also request and assign some officers in that area, or at least let the officers know that these things are going on in the community. So, you know, just so that they can check in, be present, walk around, you know, talk to people and stuff, but to also make people feel comfortable as well, too, just to know that if there is an incident that occurred or something, we know that there's an officer within, you know, just a couple minutes from the area. So we definitely encourage that. So if you know of any celebrations that are going to be going on in the churches, any community events and festivals and stuff like that, just let us know, shoot us an email, and we'll put it on the sector's schedule or special order so that everybody knows and is aware of what's going on in the community.
Thank
Now,
you,
is there
Malik.
a fee for that? Is there
I'm
a
sorry?
different fee? Is there a fee to have, or would that be considered the detail part for a special event? Or are you talking about just so that they could kind of, observe or protect the area, or let just kind of everyone feel comfortable as far as safety is concerned?
Yeah, so for instance, like the Cambodia New Year, like they requested detail just because there is the parking and the traffic that goes in and out of the temples at a certain amount of time. So the temples requested detail for their events. But other churches, they'll just shoot us an email and let us know that they're having a community barbecue. And so that way we'll just let the sector captains know, and then they can talk to the people that are working on the schedule, just do a drive-by, check out to see what's going on, just be close by and stuff like that. So I mean, it goes both ways. It depends on how big the event is, if they really need a detail, or if it's just a small event and but it's it's going to be, it all depends really on whatever the organization or the church prefers for that.
And what, if I can just add, what Malika's referring to too, is that recently we actually there's a lot of events going on in the city, last week and the coming weeks throughout the summer that everyone's obviously looking forward to. So having those on our radar, so we know what's going on in the city and know all the events happening. We could put it on the special orders so the commanding officers are aware that this is, these events are happening. Just so the police officers are aware of what's going on in the neighborhoods and whatnot.
Thank you.
Good to know. I think that other than getting an update on the new task force that was implemented with all the neighboring law enforcement with Lowell for the bikes, is really it's an update I was really kind of hoping to get. Other than that, I really don't have any other questions, unless anyone else has any other questions or concerns or wants to jump in.
Sure. Thank you. Chief, any updates on the body cameras?
So we went before the city council Tuesday on the body camera funding, and they approved full funding for the body camera program.
Yep.
So we're finalizing the last tidbit in the policies with both unions. That should be done this week, or maybe even done now.
I think I actually have to follow up, but it's pretty final, and the contract is being finalized in law as well. So as you know, we had the funding, the state funding for the pilot program for the 30, but we needed, in order to implement it department wide, we needed additional funding. So while we also applied for a federal grant, and that has been submitted, we won't know until September. We also put requested funding in the capital plan to be able to provide match to the federal grant and fund it to ensure that it's fully funded. So that's been approved.
So the hope is the contract gets signed. As soon as that happens, we'll go ahead. We've already picked the company. We'll purchase the equipment for the pilot program. There'll be some logistics in terms of computer equipment setups for the body cameras, setting up how we're going to run the program, and hopefully the end of the summer, initiate the pilot program, and there'll be 30 officers involved in that program for anywhere between 8 months or more, right? Somewhere around there.
Yeah, around there.
And then as soon as that pilot program is completed, we'll go to a full implementation of every uniformed officer in the police department by next summer. So we're looking forward to that. I think it'll be an important step forward for us.
So we can certainly, that along with, there's a lot of things going on, the body worn camera program, the cadet program that are all going to be still progressing in the summer, even though we're not meeting. So we can certainly, you know, Michelle, to your point earlier, we can certainly continue to send updates. And we'll be sending various emails to the Citizen Advisory Committee throughout the summer.
That'd be great. So we can stay informed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Michelle wanted to know about the Merrimack Valley Reckless Bikers Task Force. Tonight, 10 o'clock, Channel 25, right, Marianne? Deputy LeBlanc
yes.
will be on. They interviewed him
That's
today
right.
regarding this as well. So we started, Deputy LeBlanc started the task force. We had come up with the idea to bring together all the local departments that surround the city. We thought that, not only we thought, we know that a lot of the people involved in this are coming from other communities. They're driving through, they're meeting in other communities and coming into Lowell. So we thought it was important, number one, to involve all of our partners. So there's Andover, Chelmsford, Tingsboro, Tewksbury, Lowell, Methuen, Lawrence, and Dracut are all signed on and all involved in the Reckless Bikers Task Force. So a lot of it is an information sharing. They're meeting at least every month, unless there's other issues. You know, we continually meet and talk if we had issues going on in other with people from the other communities as well. The goal, I'm going to read you that from the goal is collaboration is to keep our streets and residents safe by strengthening our enforcement efforts, as well as sharing information and best practices among our law enforcement partners. The main focus of the efforts are those individuals operating dirt bikes, ATVs, illegally on public roads, operating to endanger, weaving unsafely through traffic, riding on sidewalks, and impeding traffic. The reckless actions create a dangerous situation not only for motoring public, but also the operators themselves. One key component as well in talking to other police departments throughout the Commonwealth, and we presented it to the council, I believe it was on June 7th, and it went to the law department to create an ordinance, which they were all on board. They voted to accept the ordinance. So the language will be created by the law department, similar to Springfield, Mass. If someone pulled up on an OHRV, an ATV, a mini bike, or whatever, and they're unregistered, they're illegal for the road, that a gas station will not be able to fuel them. If they pulled up and they were on a trailer, and legally registered trailer, that's a different story, but they can't, it'll preclude these, you know, kids, juveniles that come up to the pumps to fuel their bikes, and it'll be a fine for the owner or the clerk at the store, a warning first offense, and then I think $100 fine. But that's another effort that we'll be taking to curb some of the activity, the illegal activity. You know, there's a lot of people that ride mopeds and scooters legally because, and who wouldn't in this day and age, if you had to go around the city with $5 a gallon, right, to legally do it and obey the rules of the road, and you want to be safe. And I think it's a great tool if it's done correctly, but you know, the people that are driving recklessly and causing damage to other vehicles and harm, and you know, you've seen the horror stories on the news where they're assaulting people in traffic. So that's what we're looking to do, and a lot of these are stolen bikes as well. So we're looking to curb any of the illegal activities and make it safer for those that want to do it legally. So that's the main focus of the task force.
Thank you for that information. I was very curious as to what was accomplished with that. So you say at 10 o'clock tonight on Channel 25?
Yeah, I know they interviewed Deputy LeBlanc today, and I was told it's going to be on Channel 25 at 10 o'clock. So I'm not sure. Is that, I forget what the station is, but Channel 25.
Fox?
I think it's Fox.
25? Yeah,
Fox 25.
And I know it should have been in here in the press release, but we have a Reckless Bikers tip line email, correct, Marianne?
Yes.
That, and maybe the deputy talked about it on the TV, but it's not in the press release. I thought it was going to be in here. But we can get that for you as well. And we've received over 40 tips on the email about different illegal activity or where they may be stored. So it's working. And other departments as well are coming up with their own tip lines. And so I think this is only going to expand and it's going to reduce. And we had our monthly meeting this morning, and we were told by our crime analyst that the call volume for the reckless biker complaints are down over the last 4 weeks. So if this is real wood, we'll knock on it.
That's good. I think that's it for me. I'm not sure if anyone else has any questions, concerns, or comments. I appreciate all the updates. I look forward to additional updates. I hope everyone enjoys their summer, that they're safe. And I can't wait for our next meeting in person. Hopefully everyone can attend.
So in closing, Michelle, I'm going to wait on the exact date, but in 2 weeks or so, we're going to open our boxing gym, and we want to invite every member of the Citizens Advisory Committee to come and watch Lucia train that evening. We're going to showcase Lucia and a few of the other people involved in the program, some of our youth, and we'll have food and refreshments. We'll tour of the gym and be able to see. It'll be state of the art, and Channel 5 is coming, and they'll be filming Lucia as well.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
We'll let you know the exact.
And any other event throughout the course of the summer, if you could just shoot them over to us, because sometimes we're not all on, on the social media site. We, our timelines could get flooded. We don't want to really miss any updates or events. I mean, if you could just send us the flyers by email for whatever's going to take place, at least we're informed and we can inform our, direct network or share it for others to be informed as well.
That's fine. That's perfect.
I do have 2 updates I do want to mention. I did put it in the chat, but I'll send a follow-up email after this. The email for the biker tips is actually just bikertips@lowellma.gov. So bikertips@lowellma.gov. Additionally, the Summer Student Police Academy, this is our 24th year, I believe. We still have some slots available for our 7th and 8th grade session, which begins June 27th. So
is there an application for that? I might have a few kids that I can refer to that.
I can give you, I'll send you this information out, but Officer Jose Santiago would be the contact. So I can give you his phone number and his email address, and he'd be able to provide the application.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Can I ask Frederic? I saw your comment. Are you on the force now?
I'm actually in week 5 right now of the academy.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Are you going on Saturday, Frederic?
You know I am, sir. Absolutely.
So what group are you running in?
What group am I running in right now?
Yeah.
I'm in running group 4 right now, but I think I'm going to be transferring to group 3 pretty soon, which I'm really excited about.
I'm going to run with you on Saturday.
You're going to run with us as well?
I'll run with you.
You know what? It's going to be great because it's only 3.2 miles. And I can't believe I'm saying that. It's only 3.2.
You'll be fine.
Now, are you running speed, just jogging it? What do you?
We don't have many details yet about the run, but we're going to show up and we're going to give it our all.
We're doing
It'll be fun though.
We're doing a charity event for the Hindu temple at their sponsored. The BAPS charities are sponsoring the an event, a fundraiser for the Susan Komen Foundation for breast cancer. So all the academy kids are making a donation and showing up, and we're all going to run. It's a run walk, but the academy director is making them all run. So.
Nice. Awesome.
Well, Frederic, I'm excited for you, happy for you that you're doing this, and best wishes to you.
Thank you very much. I've been having a really positive experience so far. I mean, I think we talked about it last time in the meeting, but if there's anything that you guys would like to discuss, like the next meeting, I'm definitely open with doing that. Like I'll obviously have more information, more experiences now that we're like kind of transitioning into more hands-on stuff. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun so far.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Well, everyone enjoy.
So I actually, I'm sorry, I did want to mention one thing. I thought that we were only going to take July off and come and meet again in August.
Okay.
But if not, if you guys just want to do September, I'm also totally fine with that as well.
I may have misunderstood. You could be correct. Marianne, can you elaborate on that?
I was asking for both July and August because of their large vacation months, and there's also a lot of events. So my thought was if we took July and August off, then come back in September, but obviously not lose. I mean, there's a lot going on, so we would still definitely be in touch. But it's, you know, up to the group as a whole.
If there was something that came up, would we have the ability to reach out and make sure that, you know, it got addressed or we got attention on the matter?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If there's something that demands that we come together, then we should, but otherwise.
Yep. Yeah. Yes, definitely, of course. And that goes, you know, without saying, even in between our monthly meetings, if there's something that arises that you feel that needs to be addressed before we get to the meeting, then of course you can always reach out. And that goes the same, you know, for the summer, but we'll still be in touch. There's still a lot of things going on. You know, updates regarding body worn cameras, the cadet program. We have a lot of community events going on. And the chief mentioned, you know, the open house for the boxing program, possibly the active shooter later in August. So there's definitely still.
Marianne's going to be on. Yeah, Marianne's going to be on Channel 5 talking about women in policing at some point too, and we can let you know when so that you can watch the.
Fabulous.
They're going to do a piece on the Lowell Police Department and some of our female officers, and I think maybe even Frederic might be on there because they filmed the female officers at the academy as well. Mm-hmm. So I think it'll be an interesting piece and good for the city.
Yeah, this is our largest cadet, like our academy cadets right now is our largest percentage of females in the academy for Lowell ever. It's I think it's 55% females, 45% males.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I also just bring up too, like, you know, while we're on break, I know the group is the Citizens Advisory Group, but we still have some slots available to fill. So if you have any people that you think that would be great to be part of the Citizens Advisory Group, I think between now and maybe like our September meeting, just to, you know, put it out there, the application's still available. So we definitely, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Malika, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to add to that. I'll need to, so I'll send a follow-up email next week on exactly what slots are still open. And I think I'm going to have to reach out to HR regarding the postings because they have completely kind of changed the system on how jobs are posted, which are that we post the committee member positions similar to the jobs in Lowell. So I'll just need to touch base with the HR director regarding how to do that. I don't think there's anything posted at the moment. But I'll have to look into that and I'll send an update on the vacancies and the process.
That's great. Is there something that you could send that we could like actually share with folks, a little ad, a link or something so that we could be a little bit more direct about it? If we know someone where they can apply for it?
I might not have the link yet next week.
No, that's fine. But when you have it, yeah.
Oh, yes,
so because sometimes we could make the recommendation, but then they have to like kind of fish through you know, to find it. But if we have something like one of those little ads that you prepare with the link, just to kind of, you know, if we reach out,
Yeah.
excuse me, to anyone, say, you know, if you're interested, you know, hop on there, apply for it, so
Yeah.
that for September, hopefully we have, you know, those spaces occupied.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Definitely do that.
Thank you.
The other thing too, Marianne, is I think some of us may be coming up to our time limit.
Yes.
Don't do it. So it'll be good to find out when that happens.
Yep.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Pastor? Somebody was trying to call me and I had to reject the call.
Oh, that I think some of us may be coming up to our term limit.
Oh, okay.
I had a question about
go ahead.
the post-commission. Has there been any updates on like any recommendations that they made? I know I saw today that they just okayed the regulations for the recertification process for officers. Have you heard anything from them regarding body cameras or anything else?
I missed the first piece of what you said, Nader. I'm sorry.
I was just wondering if there was any update from the post commission just on any recommendations that they made, because I saw today that they voted on the recertification process. So I was wondering if there's any other updates that have come out that commission.
So I didn't see what happened today, but recertification of all officers with last names A through H have to be submitted by June 15th. So we're all set to submit. Everyone in the city of Lowell everything will be submitted on time. The only question was whether they were going to delay it or not, because there's been some legal challenges, but we're inputting all the information so that all we have to do is press a button and send it to Post. We'll be all set for June 15th.
And we've been all along, we've been on target with anything that Post has requested, or even the DA's office, because the DA's office has been requesting information too. We've been on target with providing all information that's needed.
I just wanted to say before the meeting ends, congratulations to the Lowell Police Department for all the youth activities you've been hosting, from the boxing program, the new boxing gym that's going to be opening up soon, and the Student Police Academy, and congratulations on the Student Police Academy during the school year as well, and during the summer, and also other youth activities that you've been providing for people in Lowell. So just congratulations on a very good job on community policing just in general.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions, concerns, or anything that they would like to add before we end the meeting? I think that wraps up this meeting, Marianne. Just keep us updated, please, so that we could all follow through accordingly. And so it is decided that we will meet again in September. I understand that, right? Correctly?
Yes.
And unless otherwise, we need to communicate for any particular matter, right?
Yep.
Sounds
awesome. So have a great night, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your summer. We'll see each other around. And thank you so much. And this meeting is adjourned.
Have a great summer,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Enjoy the
Thank
summer.
you.